All right, so this meeting is being recorded. All right, well, welcome everybody to week 2 of our Lunch and Learn for the Wellness Challenge. If I could first of all ask you to please mute your computer, even just for background noise, it gets a little bit tough. And I do have the power to mute you if not. So don't be offended if I do that. It's just to keep the noise in the background out of there. So anyways, I hope week 1 has gone well and that you've been enjoying the wellness challenge along with all that water and exercise, nutrition, all the information that is going on. So anyways, good luck to all the teams. It's wonderful seeing the team photos coming in. It's not too late. You can still send in team photos. Great hearing from some of the creative names too. So the team names are now up on the city website. That link that I give you on Thursday takes you to the page in the website that has all the information for the Wellness Challenge. So anytime or if you have questions or problems, let me know and I will try to do my best. Anyways, a couple things. So last week, the challenge was trying a new exercise, and this week it's trying a new recipe. Now, last week we had Krista Sawatsky that was speaking on nutrition. She sent me, and on Thursday I sent those recipes to you. I know there was a few in there I'm hoping to try this week. There was a frozen fruit smoothie where you add in the proteins and stuff. It looked pretty interesting. So anyways, I hope you enjoy some new recipes for your bonus points for the challenge. Also, don't forget on Wednesdays, we had 4, Mary, 2 other ladies and myself, we played some pickleball last Wednesday. So if you would like to come out to the stockade on Wednesdays from 12 o'clock till 1 o'clock, you can walk, play badminton, play pickleball, whatever you want, just a few different free activities. There's also additional free activities that the city's providing, and that's in one of your posters. Also, make sure to get those points into your team captains. Hopefully by now you've sent your points to your team captains, and they don't need to send them to me until next week. We will do a mid-challenge point, so you kind of tell where your team's at, if you're in first or where you sit, and then we'll do it at the very end. Other than that, I don't want to take any more time speaking, other than saying that this Thursday afternoon, you can expect an email from me. And that will have the new link and that'll have new information on it. And I apologize about the recording last week. When I take this recording, I just need another person to switch it to YouTube. He's aware of that. He's hoping to do it this afternoon, but give us a little time. It's not your technical problems, it's mine, and I apologize for that. So we hope to get it to you as soon as we can this afternoon. All right, I'm going to switch this over, and I'd like to welcome and also thank Leah Perot. She's a pharmacist at PharmaSave, and she's going to speak to us today about sleep. We always know how important it is about sleep, so maybe we'll get a few tips that can help us. So Leah, I'm going to pass it over, and I'll mute myself, and at the very end, if we have any questions, we'll have some time for that too. So here we go. Thank you, Leah.
Perfect. Thank you, Val. Can everybody hear me then? Hopefully. Okay. Val will let me know if not. So yes, we're here to talk about sleep. And I think we all know how wonderful a great night's sleep can make us feel and make such a difference in our day. When we're talking about the numbers of hours of sleep that we should be having every night, everybody's a little bit different, but ideal number of hours for adults is between 6 and 8 hours a night. I know some people, I do better on more hours of sleep than less, but others can get away with less and still feel good. But, you finding that right number of hours of balance is important so that you can be your best in the day. So why is sleep so important? I think we probably know most of this, but certainly a good night's sleep allows us to be better, more productive in the day. We can concentrate better. Sleep affects our hormones, and when we don't get enough sleep, we might feel like we're always just grumpy, but hungry can be an issue, and it's harder to regulate food intake if your hormones are out of balance. So good night's sleep can definitely help there. Blood pressure and heart disease. A good night's sleep can definitely help to manage those conditions. A good night, when we're sleeping and we're resting, our heart has a chance also to rest, and it gives us, our body, a chance to kind of restore itself over from our busy day. The connection between mental health and sleep, certainly there is a connection there. And so having good sleep habits and getting enough sleep every night can definitely help to reduce risks of depression and help to manage any depression that you're maybe going through. And sleep can help with our immune system. With COVID, of course, we're all wondering and worrying about our immune system. And so having a good restful night's sleep gives our body that chance to regenerate, and it can lead to a stronger immune system. So we definitely can see the benefits of sleep. This slide just quickly kind of is the flip side, what we can see happen if we don't get enough sleep. And certainly some of this is not to scare anyone or alarm you, alert you, but just so that you're aware. Certainly sleep affects all of our organs. It can, like I said, if it affects hormones, it affects how we eat, how we function. And so this is just, again, kind of a picture for you to see on how sleep affects our overall health and body. So the term sleep hygiene is something we use in pharmacy. We talk about getting a good sleep and doing good things to help us sleep. And like I say, that's called good sleep hygiene. And so that's what we're sort of going to talk about next. I've got a series of tips to hopefully help you have a good sleep. So keeping regular sleep hours and a bedtime routine. This might seem simple, but certainly it does have a big impact on how we feel throughout the day and through our week. So trying to go to bed at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every morning. And this might be pretty easy Monday to Friday, but then we sort of get off track on the weekends. Certainly if we can do it 7 days a week where we're sort of going to bed the same time, getting up at the same time, it's ideal for our body to just get into its own rhythm of sleep. Finding a bedtime routine that works for you. So I've got some examples listed there. Stretches, deep breathing. For some people, just a nice warm cup of milk or tea, reading a few minutes before bed. All of these can definitely help you. Just it triggers your body to say, okay, we're getting ready for sleep. This is what we do every night. It's time for bed. This comment about the weekends, how we maybe stay up later on weekends. There's something called sleep debt, and you can't make it up. Really, like you can't catch up on your sleep on the weekends. And so that's just the comment of why every night, if we can, I know it's not always realistic, but being mindful of trying to get to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Number 2, exercise. So we know how important exercise is for our overall health and our physical well-being, but exercise impacts our mental well-being, and all of that impacts our sleep. So definitely when we have been more active through the day and are outside, if we can, all year round, if we can get out there, you're going to probably find that you sleep a lot better. So making sure to include exercise in some form every day really will benefit your sleep at the end of the day. One thing to consider, though, is that you don't want to exercise too close to bedtime because that increases your adrenaline and other hormones, and that can actually make it harder to fall asleep. So don't decide to do a real big workout at 9 o'clock and then expect to fall asleep at 10. Smoking. Now, of course, as a pharmacist, I have to throw this one in there. So many benefits to quitting smoking, but actually it can help lead to a better sleep. So research has shown that people who smoke, it can be harder to fall asleep. They have less deep sleep, more sleep awakenings in the night, and that could be due to cravings from nicotine. So talk to your pharmacist. We can help you quit smoking, and then that can potentially help you have a better sleep. Now, make your bedroom sleep friendly. So what this means is we do have a better sleep, and it's easier to fall asleep when our room is cooler versus hotter, nice and dark, and nice and quiet. Sometimes this isn't always possible. For example, if you sleep with somebody who snores, this might be tricky to get around that, but maybe trying to go to bed before that person does, so that you can fall asleep before they get there, or use earplugs. I know I use earplugs. I'll admit it. My husband snores, and so using earplugs can help block that sound out. And or a white noise machine. Lots of us may have those from when we had babies, and that can help kind of just if you do have any background noise to kind of drown that out. And wear a mask too, so that you can block out any light if you can't get your room as dark as you'd like it. Caffeine and alcohol. Again, this might sound like, yeah, of course I know that, but those two items can be stimulating, and so trying to avoid those before several hours, of course, before bed can definitely help to make sure that you're not being kept awake by any of those stimulants. Sometimes alcohol we think can help us relax and wind down, but so a glass of wine, if that's something that helps you. I'm not telling you it's not to do it, but just know that excess alcohol can lead to a poor quality of sleep. Now, food before bed. So you don't want to go to bed hungry, but you don't also want to go to bed on a full stomach. It can make it harder to fall asleep, and you might end up feeling like you have to wake up to go to the bathroom in the night. Making sure to avoid kind of spicy or heavy foods before bed. So if you're needing a snack before bed, I think the nutritionist last week mentioned some of this. Things that are higher in protein are probably a better idea to snack on before bed. It'll help you feel full, and it'll help you probably just so you're not waking up feeling hungry the next morning, and that can lead to a bit of a better sleep. And then, of course, watch your liquids before bed so that you're not having to get up and run to the bathroom. So medications, of course, again, as the pharmacist, need to throw this one in. But certain medications some are used to help you sleep. Some may, in fact, interrupt or impede your sleep. So making sure that if you're ever starting a new medication, or you're just not sure when you should be taking a medication with respect to how it'll impact sleep, ask your pharmacist. That's what we do. So diuretics, those are water pills. You should be taking those in the morning so that you're not getting up in the night to go to the bathroom and interrupting your sleep. Things that are stimulating, so medications like Concerta or Ritalin, those of course work by increasing certain chemicals in the brain to boost your energy levels and alertness, and of course, so taking those before bed is not going to be beneficial for a good night's sleep. So of course, taking those earlier in the day. But like I say, just always ask your doctor or pharmacist. That's why we're here. So number 8, use your bedroom for sleep only, okay? Now, wink, wink. You can, of course, use it for intimacy, of course, but things that I'm trying to get at here that you should avoid in bed would be watching TV, doing your work on a computer in bed, eating in bed. All of those things can certainly, they trigger our mind and our body to say, is this a place for sleep, or is this a place for work? And so making sure to just use your bedroom for sleep is important. And I just love that little picture of that baby. I had to throw him on there. Now this is a big one here. And if you're laying in bed, you've been trying to fall asleep and you just can't, it's not working, then get up. Certainly don't torture yourself and stay in bed and toss and turn and wake up your spouse and then feel frustrated. So if you are having a trouble falling asleep, and by that, give yourself, half an hour. Everybody maybe is a little different on how long it takes them to fall asleep, but certainly if it's kind of been going on to close to an hour, 45 minutes, and you just can't fall asleep, then please get up. It's recommended that you get up and do something for 10 or 15 minutes that, that would make you, and I don't want to use the word uncomfortable, but would make you feel like I want to go back to bed. So what I'm trying to say is go to a room that's a little bit colder, sit in a chair perhaps that is not your most comfortable chair. Don't go curl up in your comfy chair with your comfy blanket. Try and do something for those 10 or 15 minutes that puts your mind on something else. So go do a crossword puzzle or work on your puzzle or a Sudoku. For some people, reading is fine. It's probably not ideal to turn on the TV and watch something. That can sometimes stimulate us a bit more. But doing, like I say, something for 10 or 15 minutes, if you need to journal, that's another option. If your brain is just not turning off and you're going through everything you need to do the next day or what's happened in your day, write it down. And for lots of people, just that simple act of writing it down is enough to get it out of their mind. So do something for 10 or 15 minutes and then head back to your nice, warm, cozy bed. And hopefully you can get back to sleep. But certainly making sure that you don't get frustrated and lay in bed for hours is important. Now, talking about sleep aids, so that's always something people ask about. And if you've tried everything, if honestly you feel like you just are in a state and a point where you just can't fall asleep, you're not able to sleep well, it's okay to consider using an over-the-counter sleep aid. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist first, of course, and make sure it's safe with any medications. But these products are intended for occasional use. They're not to be used long-term or to be relied on every night. But for some people, it might be needed just to kind of get yourself back into your routine, get on track with sleep. And so this is an option. And it's certainly, we want to try everything else before we resort to any medications, but certainly consider this as an option if you're feeling like you're just exhausted from lack of sleep ongoing. And so the options that you can purchase without prescriptions, the medication is diphenhydramine, okay, which is an antihistamine that makes us feel drowsy. And so they're kept behind the pharmacy counter, so you'll have to talk to a pharmacist about it. And so that's a great opportunity to just make sure it's safe for you, what the dose is. Usually medications like this should be taken about an hour before bed, before you're wanting to fall asleep, to help you get a good night's sleep. We get lots of questions about melatonin also, and melatonin is something our body produces naturally. And people who work shift work, or if you've been on a trip with jet lag or anything like that, or even just, you're having a hard time falling asleep, melatonin has a place to potentially help you. So when our body is not producing it in a cyclical manner or in the right amount, then supplementing might be an option. It's not something that you'll take and fall asleep an hour later. Melatonin takes some time to build up in your body and start to work. Melatonin can be an option for kids too. And if you have a child who is having some difficulty sleeping or just waking up maybe in the middle of the night or just having a hard time falling asleep, then this could be a safe option to consider. So that would be something to talk to your pharmacist or doctor about. And I just threw valerian in. That's another supplement or herbal-based product. Some of the studies I've read are not really saying that it's very beneficial, but for some people I've spoken to it, it's helpful. So that could be an option to consider also. Okay, so maybe I breezed through that too quickly, but if anybody has any questions, please go for it.
Also, your questions can be obviously just unmute yourself and you can ask, or we do have the chat system too there if you want, and I can read out your question. I didn't realize about the melatonin that it didn't work as quickly. I understood that. I was thinking of it as the same as your first one that you had listed there, like the sleepies is. Right. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a difference there, and that's just not me being informed, because melatonin is commonly thrown out there as for something to help with sleep. I know before we began this, Leah and I were chatting, and I don't struggle with sleep. I have usually quite easily to hit my head on the pillow when I fall asleep. But I have 3 children, husband, that don't find sleep as easy. And it's difficult in that giving them advice because I'll go through the things that help me, and they're like, I've tried it. Doesn't work, mom. And I think there's that cycle of frustration too, right? When you really want to go to sleep, you know it's important to sleep, and you're getting more anxious about not getting to sleep, that it's really hard to turn that off. Or my children, I say, I can't stop it. I just think of everything I did or I need to do or I'm excited about doing. And I don't know if anybody else has suggestions here because I've given them everything I know of. And does anybody have anything that kind of works for themselves or their family or they've read about?
Well, I've tried the tape called, I think it's called Weightless. It's kind of sound and it's soothing. What do you think of that, Leah?
Absolutely. I think if that works and it, just calms a person and makes it easier, then by all means, whatever works is my theory. I like Val said, my son is sometimes struggling. He always says, I can't fall asleep. I'll never fall asleep. And we always say, well, you always do fall asleep. And you get in your head too. It's like, I can't do this. I can't fall asleep. And so turning that off is half the battle, I think. And absolutely. So any sort of music, any calming sounds will definitely be helpful.
Our family, and particularly our kids, have found that some of the meditation apps, and different kids like different piece. Some of them like the music, some of them like the body relaxation meditation before bed. Some of them even have stories, and so you can put it on and fall asleep to the story, and then if you fall asleep you can listen to the rest of it tomorrow. The downside though is the temptation to use tech in the night, which we have found, right? Like we really have to work with them on. That doesn't mean you can pick it up in the middle of the night and do other things.
For sure, yeah, because that in fact can be more stimulating and make it worse, right? Yeah.
Leah, you mentioned warm milk and tea. I'm assuming you mean herbal tea?
Yeah, like a caffeine-free tea. Yep, like a green tea that without caffeine or whatever type of tea you enjoy, but make sure, of course, yes, thank you, that it's caffeine-free. Leah Perot would maybe know this story. The other Leah Perot, Dennis and her husband Mark are cousins, and their grandma just recently passed away. She was almost 100, and she took a shot of brandy every night, I think, didn't she, Leah? And so when I mentioned alcohol, I sort of chuckled to myself because, you know what, for her that worked. And it was approved by her doctor. Let's do this, but it's excessive alcohol use that would be the concern. And when you get to be almost 100, I'd say you do what you'd like to do.
Yeah, it's just so interesting, right? I mean, these babies come into the world and they sleep most of the day, and we know how important sleep is. And you've just, covered those again, the importance of sleep. But it's something that so many people do struggle with, and it impacts so many aspects of our lives. And I think we have probably a busier world now than we ever have when you think of all the stimulation and social media and technology and stresses and a pandemic and worries and fears. And then we're supposed to shut it off because it's really important to shut it off at night and get a good night's sleep. Well, it's hard. It's really hard to do. And I think it doesn't hurt for us to always share things that I tried this, or, oh, have you tried this meditation? Because there's thousands of meditations, and the first meditation you might try, it might drive you crazy because it's the wrong voice, it's the wrong music, it's the wrong message. But just continuously trying something. And I think we also go through different stages. What maybe works for you for sleep when you're 18 might not be what you need at 25 or 45 or whatever too. So It is so very important. And I thank you so much, Leah, for sharing. Are there any more questions or comments before we wrap up today? All right, well, I would just like to say a huge thank you, Leah, for your time, your expertise, and your knowledge. It's so nice to hear from the pharmacist too around that whole medication point. And we thank you very much for that time and for sharing with us today. Thank you for all the participants who came today. We had 11 here, and I will set this up, and I believe it's coming out this afternoon. And I just wish all of you great day, great week. The storm is over. The sunshine is out. The Wellness Challenge didn't get canceled even through a blizzard. So nothing can stop us. We are on our way into week 2. So good luck to all of you. I'll send an email on Thursday. Have a fabulous day. And thank you again.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
Thank you.